Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. So I came across a young lady, actually a couple of years ago, that is one of the most impressive, inspirational people I've met. She is Kathleen Black. She runs a company called Kathleen Black Consulting, and what she does is she trains real estate teams on how to work together as a team. And so there's a lot of very helpful things in that in regards to coordination and collaboration and looking for the positives and other people's negatives and making sure you all sort of work well together. And she's also inspired me with a trek that she did across northern Spain, which we did a show on. It was really quite fascinating. But I think the most interesting thing is she's written a book called Relentless to Rise. And it's a leadership development kind of a book. It's a book about being relentless and achieving everything. So I thought we'd have her on and talk a little bit about that. Kathleen Black, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
So why did you write this book, Relentless to Rise?
Well, I wrote it for a couple of reasons. As you mentioned, I did a trek across Spain, which was amazing, a pilgrimage. And I wanted to kind of follow the book on that journey and on my life story. Because I work with a lot of ultra producers. And what I found is that they all kind of go through this personal shift before they go through the business shift. So we really wanted to go back and focus on, how you can use the things you've gone through in life to really be your superpower, right? Like some people go through difficult things and it takes them under. Other people use it and they're like, this is their fuel. It's their superpower to move them forward.
So the bad things can be your superpower?
Absolutely. The bad things were my superpower. It was my fuel to move forward for sure. Like I found myself in some really hard places in life.
Why? Because it kicked you in the pants or what?
Lots of things people have gone through. I left home young. I had difficulties leaving home young. I went through a really horrible divorce. I had a business owner compromise my half of the business. I had a whole bunch of difficult things happen.
How does that become a superpower?
Well, using the pain to make you better becomes a superpower.
Using the pain to make you better.
Yeah, absolutely becomes a superpower for
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
How do you use the pain to make you better?
There are some people who look at life and think life's out to get them, right? Or think that they'll never be good enough or they'll never be able to achieve something. And there's other people who look at it and say, the things that happened to me in my life aren't my identity. Like as humans, we're very identity based, right? Mm-hmm. Who am I? What do I represent? What do I believe in? And sometimes bad things happen and people think it's part of their soul, so to speak. It's part of their identity as a human. And I don't believe that. I think our identity is to say, yeah, that happened to me. And my whole role is to actually say, no, I get to choose. The world can do whatever it wants to me in some respects, but I get to choose, right? How I'm going to define my role. And I think all people in business and in life who are leaders, that's what it's all about. It's saying no matter what's happened to me, I'm going to chart my course forward and I'm going to use whatever's happened to make me better. And unfortunately, not as many people as I would like choose to take that path. So I want to encourage them to.
How did you learn to turn pain into a positive, pain into a superpower?
That's a good question. I think luckily, I always say, luckily I had enough adversity to have to look at myself and stand up in storms, right? Stand strong. And I think, coming out of, being young and having domestic abuse at home, having things that were really difficult for me. And I had to look at this and say, no, you're going through this because you are strong. You're going through this because you need to carve out something different in your future. So to me, I don't know if that answers you.
So it's that old line about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
But for some people, it makes them go to sleep, right? What I've learned is what doesn't kill you makes some people stronger if you choose to let it.
Okay, so what's the key to not going to sleep, but making those bad times make you stronger?
You have to choose to make them worth something. You have to give them meaning. So to me, those things gave me meaning because I had to actually face myself and see my habits and my patterns. And I had to learn from it and decide, okay, Kathleen, is this who you want to be? Or do you want to make a shift at this point? I call them eye of the storm moments. So when you're in a storm, there's all this tension, right? And there's all this craziness. And most people just panic and they batten down the hatches like we're all going to die. What's going to happen? And other people criticize and complain. And then there are these other people who are the doers, who are like, in a storm, I have the chance to chart a new course, to go towards a new destination. And I'm going to use this moment and all this chaos to actually have a calm place and look for to carve a new place in your future. And I think that's what all leaders do, right? They walk in the dark and they build something when nobody understands where they're going, but they're building their future into creation. And I think we need people like that more than ever, right? People who are helpers, who walk out in storms instead of hide and batten the hatches.
I agree completely, but I come back to how did you learn this? How did you decide that this is who you were? Because Yeah, there's got to be something, some lesson learned that we can apply to other people that have got to figure out. Like, some people would say, well, it was a mentor, or it was a friend, or it was a father, or it was a mother, or it was God, or it was a book, or something like that. What was it that took someone like you, that it sounds like you suffered from domestic abuse and other things, what was it that made you see it as a superpower?
I think I finally saw I had a choice out in the storm, right? I finally saw that I can say, like, everyone's out to get me and criticize people, but then I looked up, I'm like, not everybody's reacting the same way. And I finally saw it. I'm like, we can all be out in the same storm, but internally we can be in a different place. So how did it happen for me? I think that was the awareness. Like, all of a sudden, that eye of the storm moment, I was like, wait, you can make a different choice right here. And I didn't know that before. And when I did, I think it's like, recently I found myself saying that comment, like, what I thought was everyday living skills, right? Like, common sense is not that common. To me, it's like cause and effect, do the right thing, be honest. Like, to me, these things are creating an intention, right? They're creating your way forward. So I started to really realize that people who were building their way forward had a very different effect. So you could make a different choice. And the people who are blaming weren't really moving out of anything. They were just stuck.
Okay, I apologize. I keep trying to come to what was the catalyst. Did you see people that were successful and not blaming, and unsuccessful people that were blaming? Was there something that caused you to come to this realization that you had the choice?
Yeah, there was something that I remember exact moments, because I was at a hospital. I was a teenager. Long story. I was arrested for truancy. That's fine. Different story. But so they took me for evaluation, and I was at this hospital, and the doctor came and talked to me. I finally was like, can I leave? What's going on? And he finally looked at me. He's like, Kathleen, like, or Katie, he called me that. But he's like, you can leave, but you have nowhere to go. Like, your parents aren't going to take you in. You're going to be homeless. Like, you can continue to run and run away and have nowhere and, stay with friends and hide in people's closets, or you can stay here and you can get resources. And to me, that was that moment where I wanted to run with everything in me, but I was like, no, like, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stand in it, as uncomfortable as it is. I'm going to get resources, because if I make this decision out of fear right now, my future is going to be horrible. And fear wanted me to run. Think about it. I was 16.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't want to stay.
This was a physician? This was a doctor?
Yeah, this was a doctor.
That you knew well?
No, I did not know them well. No. But they were somebody.
But he called you on your stuff.
Yeah, he made me make a choice. And he knew, and he kind of said, like, he's like, Kathleen, you're very intelligent. Like, you have lots of options here, but if you keep running, like, you're going to end up on the streets. You're going to be dead. Like, he pretty much scared me. And I said, yeah, you know what? You're right. Okay, I'll stay. I'll get resources. And it was a life-changing moment.
That actually, so having that catalyst of someone that calls you on your crap, calls you on your running, and gives you that alternative, that choice, that is helpful.
Yeah.
So how do we find those people in life?
That's a good question. I mean, I think a lot of people don't have mentors, right? Like, they don't have the privilege to have mentors. I think you have to be around other leaders, other doers. You have to be able to discern people who are giving you constructive criticism versus criticism. And I think until you get to the point that you are a doer that's building your future into creation, you can't tell the difference. Because if you're in ego, right, you're in fear, you don't want people to know you don't know everything. You're just like, no, I can chart my own course. I know what's going on. You don't want anyone to know you're weak at anything. But all of a sudden, when you drop all that, it's so freeing, because you'll know the people who are trying to help you. You'll feel it, right? It's like they're hard on you, but that's because they believe in you. I always say I'm lucky to have people who have been honest to me around me, who don't enable me, because if not, I would have been stuck, right? I could have never moved forward.
Honest people that don't enable you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Think about it. Like, if everybody told me I was right all the time, or that I was, I was never in the wrong, I would never grow. I would never move forward. We need tension to grow. We need people around us who call us on our crap, like the doctor did. Kathleen, you can run or you can stand in it. Like, let's cut the crap, right? Like, we need people like that.
I think it's a great lesson. You need people in life that are going to call you on your crap. I think that's very true. Yeah. We're chatting with Kathleen Black of Kathleen Black Coaching Consulting tonight about lots of things, about Relentless to Rise, a book that she's written, about her superpower of some of the challenges that she's had in life, and some of the lessons of what makes great leaders, which we're going to come to after the break. Stay with us, everybody.
It's bigger, it's festive, it's back. Sabs Couture, Healthy Planet and Retreat Skin पेश करता है GTA Ramzan Festival and Food Bazaar, a celebration of culture and lifestyle. Mehndi artists, clothing, shoes, real estate, skincare और GTA के top food brands, free face painting, magic shows, balloon twisting and much more. 9th and 10th April, सुबह 12 बजे से रात 12 बजे तक. Maple Banquet Hall. For sponsorships and booths, call 416-520-1372. Powered by Complete Home Furnishing, Sonia Siddiqui, The Legal Connection.
Managing your own business can be a lot of work. A professional accountant always makes a difference. It's imperative that your accountant keeps your finances simple, accurate, and confidential. Audited? Need help? That's why we chose Scans Accountants. They make you feel at ease knowing you and your business are in good hands. Scans Accountants, team of professionals.
Do you want to start your own business in Canada? Is it your dream to own a gas station? Would you like to invest in a residential development?
If yes, then you need to contact Mirza Zulfikar Chaudhry, one of the best residential and commercial brokers in the community. Broker of Global West Realty Limited. Call him at 416-908-1575.
We specialize in commercial and residential developments. We just developed this Esso gas station with Pizza Hut. If you are interested in any kind of development, commercial or residential, please contact us with full confidence.
Mirza Zulfikar Chaudhry, broker of Global West Realty. Phone number 416-908-1575.
A criminal charge can be an ugly and nasty surprise. Don't let bad decisions or unfortunate circumstances take control of your life. The criminal lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will listen to your story and develop the best defense for you. Nothing in life is more important than your freedom. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
I help clients with their legal protection, but I haven't done any estate or tax-free retirement planning for myself.
With the recent changes, I wish I could minimize taxes and plan for a tax-free retirement income.
For over 18 years, Zahid Syed of Arush Financial has been giving business owners and professionals sound advice on tax reduction, life and health insurance, and estate planning strategies.
Act now, I can help.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. It's a real pleasure of mine tonight to be interviewing Kathleen Black, who is really quite an impressive young lady. She's someone I've interviewed before. She has written a book called Relentless to Rise, a book about her superpowers and how she's turned some of her bad times and pains into some of the most successful times in your life. And so I guess one of the things that I've got is that it's helpful to have people that are going to call you on your stuff and give you those choices and those options in life. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think I've gotten is this, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger if you learn from it and you can achieve it. Some other people can sleep. You've also spoken a lot and written a lot about leadership. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you think makes a great leader.
What makes a great leader? That's such a big question. But I think I alluded to it earlier. I think what makes a great leader is people who want to help. They want to have opportunity. They're not, they see the world as bigger than themselves. They see the world as everyone's connected. Like everything is connected. It's not just one, right? So they, in my opinion, they serve from a place of love, which means they're fierce and they're honest and they want people to be better because they know, again, like if I don't have somebody helping me be better, they're enabling me, I get stuck, the community suffers for it, other people suffer for it. So I think leaders, they truly want everyone to rise together to the best of their ability, and they're not willing to hold back in times where people need direction, even though they don't have all the answers, which I think in our times right now is really important, right?
Things so you used change. A couple of descriptors. Let me break them down. So you said honest, and I think that's understandable. You said fierce. Why do you say fierce?
Because leaders are internal warriors, right? Leaders internally are saying, I know my guiding principles. I know my gut. If I'm spiritual, I know I'm connected to all other things. And I'm fighting the parts of me that are in fear, that are smaller mind, for the parts that are interconnected with our entire universe, or our entire world and other people, right? Leaders are constantly having to fight to go back to that place where they're in alignment. There's a term in yoga, it's called root to rise, right? And root to rise is a really powerful thing, in my opinion, for leadership, because root to rise is like, if you want to rise up, you don't just like focus on jumping and pushing up, you ground down, right? And you ground down with your values and your principles and what's right and things that are more important and bigger than you. And then you reach up with a vision of something that you can use to make the world better, your purpose, right? And people can do that. They're powerful, because they're grounded in why they're doing what they're doing. They're not doing it for like little, attention or ego or whatever. They truly want to help. And I think that that's really important in leadership.
You talked about being grounded with values and principles. How do you figure out what your values and principles are?
You spend a lot of time in introspection and you spend a lot of time doing personal inventory, I call it. Personal inventory is like, why am I doing the things I'm doing? What am I motivated by? What is my past? What is my trauma? I came from a lot of trauma, right? Did I clean that up? Am I taking responsibility for it? Am I attracting other people? Like, I think the leaders of the future are very self-aware, and they're coming from a different energy. It's not a top-down energy. It's a together energy. It's a very different vibe.
It's not a top-down energy. It's together energy. What do you mean by that?
It's a collaborative energy. Like, top-down is, I know what's going on, and, I know the right way forward, and everyone's going to listen to me. And I don't see how that could possibly be the leadership of the future. I think it's shifting actively in business as well. People want to think and evolve and grow, and they want to work on powerful projects. And collaboration is when I'm not scared by your strengths. I'm inspired by your strengths, and you're inspired by mine. Therefore, we can do more together. Versus top-down energy is, I have to be the best of the best, right? It's a very different mentality.
And are you like that?
Top-down? No, I can't. No, I'm not top-down power. I have a very collaborative team. I joke that my director of operations is my right hand and my left hand. She is amazing. We have a very, very collaborative team. We believe in each person being the leader of their own section of the business. So I'm there helping guide, but the buck stops at them in the marketing department, in the operations department, in the coaching department. Like, they have their gifts and I let them run with it, but they know the vision, they know our values. They've grounded down, right? We've rooted down to rise together. We know what directs us, so it keeps us aligned.
And you said you rise to your vision and passion.
Yeah, in purpose. And
How
purpose.
do you find your vision and passion and purpose?
Well, I think it's those moments I was talking about, eye of the storm moments, where instead of looking at fear and going, okay, I'm going to like duck for cover, you go, okay, wait, is there anywhere I could make an impact here? Is there anywhere that I could go to a better destination? And everyone around you thinks you're nuts, right? They're like, we're in a storm. It's dark. It's crazy. What are you doing? You're like, no. I'm building towards where I want to go. And those are the most important times to do it. Right? Like, when you go through those really difficult times internally, you're focusing on where you're going. That's the only thing that'll get you through.
You like difficult times.
No, I'm just good at them. I don't like difficult times. I've been through enough chaos that now I can find calm and navigate it. And that's why I do what I do. Because in order to grow as a person, it can feel like it's like killing you from the inside out. And then you grow a business and now you have people at you and you have problems and it's in your face all the time as you're growing. You have to be able to find calm in chaos in order to grow as a person and grow a business.
Okay, so let me ask you a personal question here. And I don't want to get into the details, but you and I have talked about a recent challenge you had.
Sure.
Do you look for or attract those kinds of people or difficult situations because they're going to give you superpowers? Because they're going to somehow be a challenge that you're going to be able to deal with?
I'm really glad you asked this question. I think it's really interesting because I've learned something really valuable recently as well. So I'm quite empathic. I'm quite intuitive. I'm very sensitive with energy overall. I always have been my whole life. And I think it's that we have to realize that our gifts attract different types of people. And what I do so well in business has been also a curse in my personal life, because what I do so well in business is I work with people who want to grow and they want to change and they want to be better. And I love that element. I love working with those people. And then I attract people in my personal life who need to do some healing, but they don't necessarily want to do it. And you can't coach people in your personal life. You just can't. So what's my gift and so beautiful over here has been my arch nemesis in my personal life. And that's what gifts are like.
So it's not that you attract them, they're attracted to you and your skills.
I would think so. Yeah. I think anytime we need something and unconsciously we're not aware of it, we're attracted to situations that are going to challenge that until we're ready to face it on our own. You can't ever make somebody want to change or grow. You just can't. But those people can impact you. And that's why in teams, we're very, very careful about our dynamics, right? Like that's why I said enablement and toxicity, they're killers of teams. They're killers of culture.
So your whole business is based on the idea that more is stronger than just one individual, that a team can be more effective, stronger than just one person. Tell me about that. So is that collaboration? Is that creativity? What's
a collective team, a collective team. If you've got a collective team of people who have moved out of ego, they've known, okay, if I make decisions out of fear, it's going to cost me my future. That's the reality. Fear is tricking me. If they move out of that into a place of consciousness, where they don't have to be all things, they're willing to look at themselves, they're willing to do some work, right? And lay some foundations around their gifts, then they can move into collective. And collective is when you have like a group of people who are consciously trying to live and they're not in competition, they're not in scarcity, they live with a different terms of engagement, so to speak, right? Those teams are really hard to beat. But if you've got somebody who on their own is conscious or like a 10 out of 10 of what they do, and you've got a team here that's got like a dictator style leader and then everyone else is like a 3 or a 2, yeah, you could probably maybe beat them because they're a hot mess, right? Like it's not that hard. But a team of like 10 out of 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, an individual can't touch that.
So how do you analyze if you got the right team members?
Well, I think you have to look for their genius, right? You look for their potential that they don't even see. So you said, how do you find people who are willing to tell you the truth? How do you find people who are willing to call you on your crap? You move into a place where you're like, I want help. I want to get to this place. I want to develop myself. And you look for those collective leaders, those conscious leaders, because they're so good at looking for gifts in other people. Right? They see potential. So again, why I'm really good in coaching, I'm really good at seeing potential in people. I'm fantastic at it. So it's like I can see what people don't even see they're good at because we're not good at knowing what we're good at. Other people are good at it.
Really?
Yeah. But when you're in ego, you don't want to tell people that because you're in competition and scarcity. When you're in conscious or collective, you're like, I want you to know what you're good at because we can help each other. I'm not good at what you're good at and you're not good at what I'm good at. Together, we can do something amazing.
You said a couple of minutes ago that you think that we need this new type of a leader and that this new type of leader is becoming more prevalent in business and more successful in business. What about in politics? Do you ever follow politics?
The odd time. not extensively, the odd time. I mean, it's hard not to lately.
Because I think that, your comment about scarcity and ego is more prevalent in politics than almost anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think the old school, idea again of, politics, like the idea of our allies and we're going to help, certain people believe certain things. Like there is a more universal side of things. And what will that look like in politics? It'll be interesting to see, right? I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm like an anarchist and throw the world over, but the original definition of anarchy was actually the A within the round. And it was a group of self-governing people who believed in certain things and were able to self-govern, right? So it's interesting to think about maybe politics on a different scale where it's more universal and collaborative and not like my team against your team and my ally, no matter what, even if they're not doing good work, I'm going to position them. Like I don't see collaborative leadership working that way, if that makes sense.
You don't see collaborative leadership working when people are saying it's my way or the highway.
I think it's very limited to look at having opposing teams and wanting to benefit people because they're on your team. We're all on the same team. We're all on the human team, right? And until we can kind of move away from that divide and this idea of I win or you win, we all lose. If you think if you win and I lose that you really won, something's wrong, right? And if I think that something's wrong.
Which is what politics is all about. Politics, there's got to be a winner and a loser. So,
But is there ever really? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people in politics would be great at debating me on that. It's not my area of genius or specialty, but it doesn't seem to be a thriving system either.
So tell me, if I buy this book, Relentless to Rise, what am I going to learn from it?
If you buy the book Relentless to Rise, you're going to learn that your hardest moments in life can actually be your catalyst forward. And I don't think that's a new message, but I think it's an important message because such a small percentage of people take it.
Right.
Right. So I think it can fully be your catalyst forward. I also think it'll help people to, get in tune with their inner voice, which to me is very important, right?
Get in tune with your inner voice. How do you get in tune with your inner voice?
You slow down, you listen, you do, I I do a lot of spiritual practice. I do a lot of meditation. I do journaling. I do a lot of things to get in tune with who I am. I work on what my values are. I do future vision work for myself personally and professionally. There's so much that you can do to get in tune with your inner voice.
Kathleen, you're amazing. Where did this all come from? Did you take courses in how to be amazing?
I don't know.
Do you just read a lot, or you go to a lot of seminars or podcasts? Like, how did you learn all this stuff?
I love to help people become more powerful. Like, that's what you do. You power people up. And I needed to power myself up. I did, right? Everything that I teach other people, I needed for myself too. But I truly love powering up good people. Like, I love seeing you work with somebody like 10 years ago, right? And they'll write letters of their future with me, and they'll write things and think it's this huge stretch. 10 years later, you're watching them like they would have never in a million years believed they could have done what they're doing now. Like, people's capability to build their futures forward and achieve things is like, I don't know, it's phenomenal. People always underestimate themselves.
Where can I get the book?
You can get the new book on our website, so kathleenspeaks.com.
kathleenspeaks.com.
Yeah.
And the book is Relentless to Rise.
To Rise,
and
yes.
if people want to follow you on social media, how do they do that?
Yep, I'm on Instagram on Kathleen Black, and I mentioned it's kind of exciting, but this year we have a documentary coming out as well from an Emmy-winning director in LA, which is super terrifying and exciting. So that's going to be coming out. It'll come into Canada for release later this year too.
Well, you'll have to come back and do a show on the premiere of the documentary.
Thank you. I'd love to.
That sounds fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have Kathleen here because I think that number one, she's fantastic, as you've seen, but I think she's got a great lesson, and a great lesson that not many of us hear and know and fulfill, which is that your tough times can be your best times, that you can learn a lot. And you know, she called it, interesting enough, your superpower. And you know, that old trite line about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, it's true. You can learn the most from your toughest times. The Greek had a line that said, we suffer our way to wisdom. And I think that's right. You don't learn stuff from just, you know, regular, ordinary stuff, or frankly, good times. You learn the most from the toughest times. And so I think we can listen to Kathleen and learn a lot from her, in that we should see some of these pains that we go through, some of these challenges we go through in life, as the opportunity to learn what our superpowers are. And I'm inspired by that. So Kathleen Black, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your ideas with us. And I look forward to reading the book and watching the documentary.
Thank you. Thank you for
having me. And hearing about the next trek across wherever you're going to trek next.
I will be. Yes. Thank you.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm on every Thursday night on Canada 1 TV. Good night, everybody.